What is going on, my fellow Jets fans? Welcome to the latest episode of the New York Jets State of Mind podcast. My name is Malcolm Harper, aka MHJetsFan83. You can follow me on X, Instagram, and YouTube at MHJetsFan83, which is one word, all lowercase. You can find my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. This episode will also be posted to my YouTube channel at MHJetsFan83. Before I get to the pathetic loss to the Seattle Seahawks yesterday, if y'all can do me a huge favor and share this podcast with not only other Jets fans, but other football fans as well. I would love to hear fans of the team hear my opinions on the New York Jets. With that being said, let's get to the reaction to the disgraceful loss to the Seattle Seahawks. They lose 26-21, dropping the Jets to 3-9. They have now lost 8 of their last 9 games. The loss officially clinches 9 straight losing season. It's the 6th longest streak in the history of the NFL. The Jets have not had a winning season since 2015 when the Jets went 10-6. That year, the Jets had a 5-game winning streak, including the overtime thriller to the New England Patriots. And in Week 17, the only thing the Jets really had to do is win and win. And what happens? Rex Ryan literally knocks us out of the playoffs. In my honest opinion, ever since that game happened and we lost the game, we have never recovered from that game. So that's just my honest opinion. Now, let's fast forward to this season, and clearly, there is no end in sight to this debacle. I'm so waiting for this season to be over with, and unfortunately, we only have 5 games left. Now, let's start with the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. His stat line was 21 of 39 for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. But let's be real, he was absolutely terrible. He failed to reach the 200-yard mark for the 3rd consecutive game. Now, the Seahawks basically gift wrapped the game to the Jets and said, hey, they're basically saying here, we don't want to win this game. Go ahead, take it from us. The Seahawks special teams was terrible with the fumbles, especially that first fumble that was forced by Kenny Noguahu. I think I said his name correctly, but more on him in a second. And here is the actual turning point of the game. The game should have been 28-7 instead of 21-13. When Aaron Rodgers ends up had a wide open Garrett Wilson in the end zone and basically misses him. And then basically on the very next play, what in the world were Aaron Rodgers was looking at? Throwing that pick six to Leonard Williams that goes 92 yards the other way. That was Aaron Rodgers' first pick six of his career. And kudos to Leonard Williams that basically ended up dropping back and making that play, by the way. You got to give him credit for that as well. The stat line now with Aaron Rodgers, he had 5 opportunities to actually have to win the game. And now he is 0-5. And he has fell short in each one of them. The Jets were actually shut out in the second half of the game. All with that fumble was really, really alarming, to be quite honest with you. I was really surprised with that 91-yard kickoff return by Kiki Nwanu. And my thing is, where in the world was this? He was actually elevated to the practice squad prior to the game, and he runs it back for a touchdown. Where was this all year? Well, why was he actually on the practice squad, knowing the fact that our special teams needed a spark? You actually elevate him to the practice squad, and then he actually does this? Like, I just don't get it. But anyway, Michael Nania of Just X Factor posted this awesome tweet on X, and this pretty much sums up the culture of the Jets. And this was his direct tweet. He said, "The new head coach should immediately make it clear that social media antics will not be tolerated." I think it's pretty ridiculous of how the last few years to go right into the locker room and start venting online. That shows a weak culture, in my opinion. Now, with that tweet that he put on X, he absolutely nailed it. And this, in terms of DJ Reed, he calls out the refs on X. I'm not going to say what he said, but if you actually find DJ Reed's tweet, it's pretty explicit. I'm not going to use the F word on this show, but all in all, it was not even okay, in my honest opinion. And he should be fined for it, obviously, which probably what the NFL is going to do anyway. Now, talking about taking a shot at Aaron Rodgers, Did y'all hear Leonard Williams' press conference? I mean, what he said in the press conference, honestly, he's not even wrong at all. And I did mention in the last episode that Aaron Rodgers is hurt. I know he's going to deny it, but let's be real. He can't move anymore. Let's just call it for what it is. He's just hurt. So, getting back to the team in general, the team is so undisciplined. Had 12 penalties for 83 yards, including 10 second half, including 8 penalties in a span of 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. And according to the website called statmuse.com, the Jets have the fourth most penalties in the NFL with 89. And honestly, I'm actually surprised over the fact we don't lead the league in penalties. So the three previous teams that are actually above the Jets are the Ravens. They have the most penalties with 105. Second is the Texans with 100. I'm sorry, excuse me. Second is the Titans with 100, and then the Texans with 95. And Rich Samini tweeted this, and he said that the Jets have allowed 5 first downs by penalty on fourth down this season, the most in the NFL this season, and tied for the most by any team this century. They have allowed 2 yesterday. The other 3 all came against the Houston Texans. He also posted a separate tweet basically saying that the poor clock management by Jeff Ulbrich, total lack of discipline, brutal penalties in the fourth quarter. Bad teams do bad things. And quite honestly, Rich Samini is absolutely right on that tweet as well, too. So, in my honest opinion, Rodgers cannot throw the ball down the field anymore. As far as the offense goes, the offense is basically like, what in the world? If the play calling is outdated, the plays are out, there's no explosive plays, and this falls on Aaron Rodgers. I know he's coming up on the end of the season, but if the Jets ends up cutting him this offseason, it's going to be a $49 million dead cap hit. Now, if I was the Jets with the new regime, I would go and eat that money the next 2 years. Just split it up the next 2 years, because if they end up doing that, it's going to be $14 million this upcoming offseason. Then next season is going to be $35 million in 2026. And hypothetically speaking, if the Jets do keep him, which I really don't see it happening, the dead cap charge hit is, get this, Jets fans, $63 million in 2026. And honestly, I don't think the regime that's going to come in here is going to deal with his contract. I'm sorry, but coaching is everything. I don't care how much talent you have on the team. It's all about the culture as well, too, because it goes hand in hand with coaching. And how in the world do you not know the Seahawks were going to go for it on fourth down and 6 when you have 12 men on the field? Where are the coaches telling Jeff Ulbrich saying, hey, the offense is going to go for it. We need to go and keep our defense out there. The neutral zone infraction by Will McDonald is unacceptable. How do you not know where the lineup at? And the horse collar penalty was inexcusable as well, too. The lack of not playing complementary football. The players are not playing for each other. They're just playing for themselves. And it's just, I have no words. It's just, I'm just waiting for all this to be over with when the clock hits 000 in the final game of the year against the Miami Dolphins. And again, like I mentioned, we got 5 more games of this crap. If any of y'all want to know where we are in terms of the draft position, the Jets are right now have the 5th overall pick, according to Tankathon. Who knows if the Jaguars beating us, which we're going to be playing them in 2 weeks, by the way. If they end up beating us, we could possibly move in to get a top 3 pick, but who knows? Well, I know one thing from a draft perspective, we have knocked it out of the park with the last 2 first-round picks we had of Will McDonald. He had 2 more sacks yesterday. Now he's up to 10 sacks. And Olu Fashanu taking over in the starting left tackle position for the injured Tyron Smith, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure you guys have already know. They just placed him on IR for the next 4 games. I think essentially his career with not only with the Jets, his football career is going to be over. Getting back to Will McDonald and Olu Fashanu, they both played well yesterday. Let's call that for what it is. I mean, that's a good stepping point, if you will, so to speak. And look, getting back to Aaron Rodgers, he has to go. Now, after that press conference yesterday, not taking any type of responsibility for the things that have actually happened, and then the season snowballing, and his lack of accountability is literally rubbing people the wrong way. I'm so happy over the fact that when I was on vacation 2 months ago, I went to this flea market where they had a booth where they sell jerseys. So I came across 2 jerseys. One was a white Aaron Rodgers jersey, and the other one was a blue Jalen Brunson jersey. I'm gonna tell you guys know word of mouth. I'm a diehard Knicks fan as well too. So I wanted to change this up, and I ended up getting the Jalen Brunson jersey. I'm so glad I made that decision because I had to realize like, hey, Aaron Rodgers is not going to be here long term. So let me go with Jalen Brunson. So that was the best decision I made. At least Rodgers doesn't even care. But on the other hand, Jalen Brunson actually cares. But that's another different story in itself. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen on X. I don't know why the owner Woody Johnson is trying to insult our intelligence when it comes to the tweets that he ended up pulling about. He ended up posting on X in terms of the color jerseys, bringing the noise and blah blah this and that. And when you're raising the ticket prices, putting this crap on the field and word of mouth, FYI, big shout out to all the Jets fans that ended up going to MetLife Stadium to watch that game. My hats to y'all for being in that freezing cold weather. I know it was cold, but I give you guys major props for going to the game as being a diehard fan. And then winning is the ultimate cure for everything. When you win, people are going to spend their hard-earned money to come out to the stadium to see, not only see, but put their eyeballs on the product. That is just business. That's how revenue is brought in as well. Sports is about wins and losses. It's just as simple as that. I'm tired of being the laughing stock of the NFL. When will this ever end? I clearly have no words at this point right now. The Johnsons need to sell the team. I'm going to keep saying it till the cows come home. And obviously they won't do it. But us as Jets fans, we need to go and rally and protest and have the Johnsons sell this team because this is just an absolute disgrace. I'm just going to call it how I see it. I know we're going to blame the general manager and the front office along with the coaches and the players, but ultimately this is going to come down to ownership. No accountability at all. If I was the New York Jets, I don't know if he ends up coming here. I would hire Mike Vrabel as the head coach. We need a Bill Parcells type of a head coach to turn this thing around. Because remember in the dog days in '95 and '96 when we were um on 3-13 and 1-15 respectively, Bill Parcells got there in 1997, '98, and '99. He basically changed the entire culture of the Jets organization the minute he got there. So that's pretty much all I say as far as my thoughts on the game. Let's get to the latest Jets news. Getting back to what I was saying the last couple of times about Kiki Nwandu, he is the running back that actually had that kickoff return, as I mentioned. He just signed to the active roster from the practice squad. That tells me right there that the Jets were going to do a release. So they finally released Izzy at Adabatakanda. So you knew from a block away that this was going to be coming ever since he's been inactive in every game so far this season. And other Jets news from Jeff Albrecht's press conference, Sauce Gardner's status is up in the air this Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. Now he's dealing with a hamstring injury. Again, that's pretty much all I'm going to tell you after yesterday's debacle and today's Jets news. What a freaking disgrace! I can't believe that we're here talking about the Jets being 3-9, where Aaron Rodgers being worse than Zach Wilson. Whoever would have thought of this? Because we all ended up signing up for Aaron Rodgers to actually go and come here. And ever since he ended up playing this season, he's played like crap. Let's call it for what it is. I mean, he's not taking accountability for everything. Now the whole team is suffering as a result of that as well too. I mean, he got to go. Like I said, he got to go. So that's just my honest opinion on Aaron Rodgers. And my thing is, I know they're not going to make the decision right now, but Aaron Rodgers needs to be benched for the rest of the season to put Tyrod Taylor in. We got 5 games left. We're not going anywhere. Put Tyrod Taylor in now. What do we have to lose? We have absolutely nothing to lose. So, with that being said, before I get on out of here, let me get to my favorite part of my podcast. And you guys know what it is. As new follower shout out. As I always said, I am a man of the people on this show. And each new follower that I follows me either on X, Instagram, or YouTube, I will make sure to give you guys a shout out. And with that being said, for the first time since I've had this podcast, I have no new followers. But if you guys actually end up going to my social media pages and get more jet people to actually go and follow me on my social media accounts, I will make sure to give them a shout out. Now, on that note, I am signing off. Again, I cannot thank you guys enough for supporting me on this podcast. If you're listening to this podcast for the very first time, please do me a favor. Wherever you're listening at or wherever device that you're listening to, please go to X, Instagram, and or YouTube and go to the search box and type my name at MHJetsFan83, which is one word, all lowercase. I will be posting this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. I will also be posting this video for those of you guys who want to go watch. And if you guys don't have the audio platforms, my videos are always going to be available on my YouTube page. So I will be back later this week to preview the Week 14 matchup against the Miami Dolphins down in Miami and the latest news and injuries. So until then, Jets fans, we have 5 more games of this crap to go. It's going to be another lost season yet again. This is eventually going to be over with, and we can finally get ready for the offseason, free agency, and the draft. So let's go and keep it up, Jets fans. Let's toughen this thing out so we can actually go and move on to 2025. Until then, take care, and as always, JETS, 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 Jets. See you later this week.